guys, welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, you're welcome. Make sure that you subscribe and join my YouTube family. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I post a new video. So on today's video, as you can see, I am wearing my nursing uniform because I'm going to be talking about nursing. I'm going to be talking about my experience studying nursing in the Gambia, because I get a lot of questions on Instagram asking me about School of Nursing, how to get in, how I got in, all that stuff. So I'm here to answer those questions and just basically tell you my whole experience. And if you're new to the channel and didn't watch my graduation video, I have a bachelor's degree in nursing, so this is something that I have been through. So yeah. And before we get into this video, I just want to make it clear that this is just me personally, what I went through. My own personal experience might be different from someone else that studied in Gambia. I believe we all have different experiences, so I'm just gonna be telling you guys about mine. My experience might be different from yours, which is fine. So yeah, let's get into this video. And if you see me looking down a lot, it's because I jotted down a few points that I want to talk about here, because I don't want to be all over the place. So yeah, I'm gonna be going according to the points that I made. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the requirements, because I get this question a lot. What grades do you need to have to be able to get into nursing school in the Gambia? So what you need to get into nursing school in Gambia is at least 5 C's. You will need at least 5 C's in your IGCSEs or your WEC exams to be able to get into nursing school. But obviously, the better your grades are, the better your chances are of you getting into nursing school. So yeah, but the main requirement is 5 C's. And obviously, you will need to have at least a C in English and math, and probably a science subject like biology, for example. So that's all you need. Now I'm gonna give you extra subjects that I think you should really focus on if you're still in high school, because you will really need these subjects when you get into nursing school. You will literally need them throughout. And these are chemistry, physics, and biology. You're going to be needing a lot of biology if you're going to study nursing. You're going to need chemistry as well. You're like, oh, chemistry, what does chemistry really have to do with nursing? But you're going to need chemistry because you will be doing biochemistry courses. You'll be doing organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry courses in your first year. So this advice is basically for people that are still in high school and want to study nursing later. Be serious with these subjects. Focus on them because you are going to need them when you start nursing school. The other question that I get a lot is, how long does it take to study nursing? I personally spent 3.5 years in uni to study nursing, but my school is kind of different from other universities. Others, you spend 4 years, but the difference is they have holidays and we basically never ever have holidays. Like, we only have like 2 weeks, maximum 2 weeks, and then we're back to school. So that is why it is quicker to do it in my school. So yeah. And if you already have a diploma in nursing, then you will only spend 2 years in university to get a bachelor's degree in nursing. So yeah, I just thought I'll put that out there for maybe people that already have a diploma in nursing and want to have a bachelor's degree in nursing. But personally, I didn't do that because I went to uni straight from high school. So for us, it is 3.5 years up to 4 years. The next thing I'm going to talk about is what happens in the first year of School of Nursing. Do you just get into School of Nursing and then day one you go to the hospital? No, it doesn't happen that way. When you start School of Nursing, you do pre-med first. In pre-med, you basically do the same courses as the medical students. You guys do the same courses, the same lectures, the same exam for a year. But then the only difference is you will be doing additional courses, additional introduction to nursing courses. They'll be teaching you the theory of what you should expect in the hospital, what you should be doing, what you should not be doing, teaching you a lot about the basics of nursing first. You will learn that in class. Also learn a lot of basic nursing skills. This will teach you a lot about nursing procedures, different nursing procedures, but you start from the simple ones and go to more complicated ones. For example, you will learn first about vital signs, which are very important, how to take vital signs, how to know what blood pressure is normal, what blood pressure is abnormal, what heart rate is normal, what heart rate is abnormal, how do you take the respirations, what do you need to do. All those things you will learn a lot of them in basic nursing skills. And they'll also teach you a lot about how a nurse should be, how a nurse should behave, what you should be doing in the hospital, what you should not be doing. Teach you a lot about empathy, professionalism, and confidentiality, which are all very important aspects of nursing. Confidentiality is very important, so they teach you all these in the first year. You will learn and you will have an idea of what is going to happen in the hospital and how you should comport yourself in the hospital in the first year. And at the end of the first year, that is when you start going to the hospital. Now let's talk about what happens when you finally start going to the hospital. So what happens when you finally start going to the hospital? This is an experience on its own. This is really different from what happens at school. You're finally done practicing nursing procedures and mannequins. Now it's time to practice on real patients. You'll be seeing real conditions, different conditions that you didn't even think existed. When you finally start going to the hospital, you'll be seeing it a lot. And a lot of people tell me that they don't want to study nursing because they're afraid of blood, and they're afraid of blood and needles. But the truth is, I think I was kind of afraid too before I started nursing school. But when you see something a lot, like every single day you're seeing the same thing, every single day you're seeing someone is bleeding, every single day they're withdrawing blood, doing all that stuff, you get used to it. When you see something time and time again, you're seeing the same thing, you get used to it and it just becomes really normal. So yeah, now it is absolutely normal for me. So if I can do it, then you definitely can do it too. So don't let that discourage you. Just really go for it. Give it a try. You will never really know if you don't try. You might surprise yourself. So don't let that limit you. Just go for it. If you like it, then don't be like, oh, but I'm really afraid of blood. No, don't let that stop you. Just go for it. I promise you, you will get used to it as time goes on. How do you learn nursing skills in the hospital? How do you learn the procedures in the hospital setting? Like I said in the beginning, the school will prepare you for what is to happen in the hospital. They will teach you about nursing procedures. So before you start, you already have an idea of the procedures nurses are expected to do. So when you finally start, don't just jump and go inject a patient or just medicate a patient out of nowhere. No. There is a way to it. You just don't jump and practice a certain procedure on a patient just like that. First things first, when you finally start going to the hospital, follow the nurses around. Observe what they are doing. If they're doing something that you don't understand, ask them questions. Even if you understand, I promise you, ask. Because when you ask, you will always learn something new. There's always at least one thing that you will learn when you ask something. So when they're doing a certain procedure, go with them, ask them. Closely watch what they are doing. Pay attention to what they are doing and the equipments they're using, because you will learn through that way. You will learn a lot of equipment you're going to be needing to do certain nursing procedures, and most importantly, how to do those procedures. And when you're done with the observing part, when you go home, you've observed at the hospital. You've seen how the nurse at the hospital does it. When you go home, don't think that is enough. Go on YouTube. I watch from the registered nurse RN most of the time. So go on YouTube, watch nursing videos, watch how certain nursing procedures are performed, watch what equipment you need. Because unfortunately, in Gambian hospitals, you will hear a lot of, well, this is not the right way to do it, but this is how we do it here because we do not have the equipment needed, so we have to improvise and use this. There's a lot of improvising. You will improvise a lot. So that is also one of the struggles, because learning the standard procedures in the Gambian hospitals is a struggle, because they will try to explain to you, this is what you're supposed to do, but you are not seeing them do it. They're doing it the other way, because most of the time the equipment needed are not available, so obviously they don't have a choice but to improvise and use something else. So by watching YouTube videos, you will learn and know the right thing, because you never know where you're going to work, and now you'll be required to do the proper thing. But if you have been watching YouTube videos, then you already have an idea, and it's going to be very easy for you. And so yeah, and even with procedures that they're doing standard in the hospital, still go and watch YouTube videos. It will still just widen your knowledge. There's nothing like enough information. There's always something new to learn, so make sure that you do that. And after watching YouTube videos, when you go back again and the nurse is finally doing that procedure again, you follow her, and then you can, politely ask, can I please try? And they will supervise you. One thing, never ever perform a procedure without supervision. You are not a registered nurse, you're still a student. So even if you are really good, even if you're really skilled at a certain procedure, please do not do it without supervision, because you're dealing with someone's life. You are dealing with someone's life. That is not a mannequin at school. That is a human being. But when you're under supervision, the nurse knows the right thing to do. So they will closely watch you, tell you how to do it, what you should do first, what you shouldn't do. And if you're making a mistake, they will stop you before things get really serious. And if you can't do the certain procedure, the nurse usually ends up doing it, but at least you tried, and there's always another chance to try again. The more you try, sometimes the first time you don't get it, and you will have to try again on another patient, keep on trying until you finally get it. And sometimes you think you finally know how to do it, and then you try again another time and you don't get it. But that's it. It's a continuous learning process. The more you practice, the more you'll be able to do things. And yeah, that's basically how you learn nursing skills. You just don't learn overnight. It just doesn't happen in a day. No. You will do a certain skill and perfect it, and you think, yeah, I can do this now. And next time you try again, you don't do it right. So that's it. You just keep on doing it and doing it. The more you do it, at some point, it just, becomes a part of you, and you will just be able to do it. So that is how it works. And also, before you practice any invasive procedure, make sure that you inform the patient. Take the patient's consent. Informed consent is very important when you're doing nursing procedures. Always inform the patient about what procedure you're about to do, why you're about to do that procedure, so that they'll have a better knowledge and understand why you're doing those things to them. So that is just very important, and I just thought I would put that out there. How do you learn medical terminologies? When you go to the hospital, you will hear a lot of new terms you've never heard of before. So it's very important to follow the doctors around, and they usually talk a lot about patient diagnosis and explain. And whilst they explain, they'll be mentioning a lot of terms that you've never heard of before. That is why you're going to need a notebook about this size. It's going to fit in your pocket. So every time you hear a new word, bring out your notebook and write it down. Every time you hear about a new diagnosis, every time you learn something new, write it down so that you don't forget it. And when the doctor is done talking, you can ask, and they usually explain. They'll give you a very detailed explanation, tell you what the word means, tell you about diagnosis, just educate you a lot on patient conditions. And yeah, even after asking them, you can still go home and Google, search the words that you wrote down. Sometimes I don't even know how to spell certain words, so I just write the closest thing to that. Google is very smart. When you write, even if the spelling is wrong, when you write something close to that word, you will always find the word, and you can educate yourself more on those things. And I mentioned earlier that you also do medical terminology in school, so yeah, you won't be completely clueless. You will have an idea, but at the same time, you will learn a lot of new terms in the hospital. So yeah. That is it for today, guys. I hope this video was useful. If it was, please let me know in the comment section down below, and if you have any extra questions, feel free to comment down below, or just follow me on Instagram and text me directly. That way I will reply faster. But thank you so much for watching, and thank you guys so much for subscribing to my channel. I appreciate every single one of you. Bye. I'll see you again in my next video.